Yo, what's up guys? J-Duck here, back with the final video of this series for defending on Clubhouse. So we are going to be in the church arsenal room. I have my friend Derek, also known as Sudzy. He is the IGL for our team. He's the one who makes all the call outs for us, helps us with strats and all that good stuff. So I brought him on. He's got some good information and cool setups that we do, and he's gonna explain it all for you. So Derek, welcome. Thanks for coming on and joining.
Well, thanks for having me, Jay. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, how about you go ahead and just start.
Alright, so when we defend church, what we always do is we're always going to bring a smoke on this site. They're going to shoot out a rotate. We always designate who reinforces hatches based on what operators we pick. So the operators that have the least utility setup, like the Legion, like the smoke, they're always going to go get the hatches. So the two hatches that are most important is Arsenal hatch, which is kitchen hatch, and then Moto hatch, which is in bar. Those two hatches, you're going to have your least utility setup operators go get first. If your smoke does it, then they can come down and shoot out the rotate later. What that does is they're not going to be having to go up late upstairs and have to reinforce the hatches where they have a chance of getting killed if the attackers are rushing or something like that. And you have a less chance of team killing a teammate trying to shoot out the rotate. So after you get this default rotate down and all the hatches reinforced, and then you're going to reinforce church wall. Those three always go on there. And then there's two reinforcements that always go into dirt. So after those reinforcements are all up, then you're going to have a few left over. Depending on how your team sets up, it can all differ. What we always do is we reinforce this first wall in blue right here. And we usually hold blue, so our smoke will shoot out another rotate on this arsenal wall here into the generator. Blue, we call that generator. And then what they'll also do is shoot out another rotate in from church also into generator. This first wall will then be reinforced in church, or this middle wall in church into blue. So then we hold blue. We'll usually put a Jaeger here with 1 or 2 ADSs. So why we hold blue, a lot of teams like to push blue in the oil pit. This hold is to stall out the time, stall out the utility. A big way to read into how the attackers are getting ready to push you is to hop on the default cams before the round starts. So hopping on the default cams, if you see the attackers running in, or if you see certain cams not shot out, so if they shoot out the dirt cam and leave the lobby cam, or excuse me, the other way around, if they leave the kennels cam, the garage cam right outside, or if they shoot that out and don't shoot out the dirt cam, the strip club cam, then you know that they're going to be doing a garage take and blue take. So then this setup really comes into that push because you have your player playing in blue to try and stall out the time and burn the utility. So what these two rotates do here is they create crossfires for the defenders, for the attackers that are trying to push down blue. So if you want to go to where you would normally play in Arsenal, so he's usually going to play box 3 right there. So what that's going to do is he's going to be able to have a line of sight straight in the generator where the Jaeger would be playing, or whatever operator you got playing here. So what that does is if an attacker goes and swings on me from one of the two sides, and I'm playing generator, and I die right here, he has a direct line of sight to where the operator would have swung so he can get the refrag onto the attacker. So that would then take the trade and benefit the defenders because this site is so defender-sided.
Cool.
So, go ahead, Jay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So, what the main goal of the player playing blue is to just stall out time and utility. They're usually not expected to live later in the round when the execute on the bomb site usually comes. They're here to just try and stall out that time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge thing too. Is you don't always have to go for kills, because playing this area, especially if they're attacking over here, it could stall a lot of time, and especially if there's only like 30 seconds left, and they finally kill this player and they're finally able to come over here and make the attack. They're not going to have a lot of info on where they're at. The time is running down, and it's just going to be really hard to try to execute a plant. Cool. Well, that goes over that. Can you maybe explain how you would now defend the church side?
So with church, you would usually have all three of these walls reinforced. The main pushes for attackers usually come in through Moto, long haul, which is over here, and the team would usually try and breach the triple wall. So if you're playing church, you have to be very heads up if you hear the sound of the thermite or a Habana or anything. You then cannot play behind these bars because your back will be exposed. So you have to be very careful on how you play this because there's usually an attacker set up in Moto holding your cross angle, which is going to be right here into the hallway. So you just have to be careful of the angles that are being held, and most teams will bring a shield. We usually bring a shield on our smoke, and we put that in the main hallway here, right there. So what that does is that gives the church player a little leeway on he can play the hallway, be able to peek through the holes in the shield to hold the main push. And then if you do need to rotate back into Arsenal or from Arsenal to church, it does give you a little bit more cover as you're coming out from the main hall.
Cool. Now for the last one, can you tell us how you would go and defend the Arsenal room?
Yeah, so Arsenal is also a little tricky, but not, it's a little more tricky than church. So most teams go upstairs in the kitchen just like that, and they'll have a sledge, a buck, some soft breach to hit the floor open. So the player that's playing in Arsenal, this is deep Arsenal right here. So if they're playing deep Arsenal, they have to be really careful of the floor because it is all soft and the attackers can open it up. So how I usually play deep Arsenal is if you see holes in the floor, you have to be very careful on where they are. But I'll usually like sit here, and if there's only one hole or something, if I hear above on which side that they're pushing from, then I'll sit there and hold the angle through the floor, peeking back at them. What that does is it causes fear for the attackers because the holes are two ways. It's not just a one-way hole. You can shoot the attackers back through it, and it puts them off guard and makes them be careful of what they're actually doing. You don't want to push up too far in Arsenal though, because if they open up the hatch, because then you are exposed. They can be anywhere in the kitchen peeking down the hatch, and that is very, very terrifying, cutting off all your rotates as you're playing deep Arsenal right here.
Cool. Well, that's kind of the basic setup that we do for holding this bomb site. Obviously, there's a bunch of other stuff you could do with, wames and all that stuff. But that's just kind of the basic general concept of our setup, especially for anchors. So now for roamers, Derek, can you kind of explain what a roamer should do and how they can help hold this?
Yes, so what a roamer, the main objective is on this downstairs hold is to really just stall out time and try and burn as much utility as possible. So how they're going to do that is they're just going to either roam mid floor or they can roam third floor. If your team decides to have two roamers, you want to make sure your roamers are supporting each other, holding each other's flanks and stuff like that. But as a roamer, you're mainly just trying to deny the drones, so you want to kill as many drones as possible. So that way you're denying the intel that the attackers can use later in the round, the drone's sight, and see where your anchors are. You really just want to try and stall as much time as possible. So if you're roaming on third floor, and they haven't droned you out yet, but you hear them opening up the hatches or in bar, you can start to flank, but you want to be slow unless your anchors are calling for you to come back to site, as in then you need to come back because you're either down manpower or something like that. But if you're not called back early, you want to try and stall out time. So if you start to creep down, you can always hold an angle of a high traffic area like this right here from main into bar. Most players, they can run from kitchen into bar, from bar down mains, anything like that. And you can just sit here waiting for that rotate. And if you get a kill, great. If not, even if you pre-fire a little too early and get a couple shots on one of the attackers, but don't kill them, you can always retreat back upstairs and then make them hunt you down because they have that fear of you flanking them later in the round. So then they'll use more utility to try and find you. And the biggest thing of being a roamer is to stall out that time. So they're wasting all that time trying to go find you while they can't be droning out site, pushing site where the actual execute is supposed to happen.
Yeah, perfect. And that's another thing that we talk about a lot in the videos is make sure, especially at the beginning of the round, if you're playing an anchor, to watch cams to kind of help roamers out like this when they're playing this kind of stuff, letting them know where they're coming from. Well, cool. I think we went over everything, right? That's pretty much everything.
Yeah, as long as teammates are trying to help each other out. And remember, this game, it's not just about getting the kills. It's all about the utility and how you're playing it to help your team as well. It's not just a fragging game.
Yep, that is very true. All right. Well, perfect. Since we went over everything, thank you, Derek, for coming and showing us what we do and stuff like that and giving us some good info.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's been a fun time.
Yep, we'll definitely have you on some other videos, stuff like that. But yeah, that sums up our series for defending on Clubhouse. And I'm not sure what map we're going to do next. Maybe Derek can pick out a map we do next. Any maps you could think of that you want to do that we could go over?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that could be said on every map. I mean, the most important ones, though, I think we should start with.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, be sure to catch us next time for whatever map we choose. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.